Hi, this is Jeff Muir with Beal Properties and coming to you today with a new tutorial video. We've done quite a few of these over the last couple of weeks, going into lots of deep details on different aspects of property management and how we manage properties here at Beal Properties. And it just occurred to me that I should do one on literally what is property management, because I get several phone calls a day from people who maybe are even just thinking about buying an investment property. And before they do that, they want to know a little bit more about what their options are. So they're considering, can I buy this and manage it myself? Or what are the upsides of hiring a property manager? So as I was thinking about that, I decided to just put together some photos and a little bit of information here to really give you kind of the background on what property management actually is. This is kind of one of those professions and fields, like a few other things, where it's not uncommon for someone to think, like, how hard could that really be? All I'm going to do to manage this property is basically collect the rent. And so being in the profession myself, of course, I'm in the trenches every day with all my team members here and really know and live the nitty gritty of it. And so I wanted to kind of go through that nitty gritty with you so you can sort of, consider the different things that we spend our time on and decide if that's something you want to do or if that's something that you would rather have someone else do for you, and in the meantime, increase the value of your property. So we've inherited or taken over management on a number of properties where the owner in the past has hired someone to, manage their property, who might have been a handyman, might have been an in-law, might have been a local realtor who decided that, hey, how hard it could be, to collect the rent once a month. And then all of those people, really realized that there was so much more to it, especially in today's world where, evictions are very difficult. Every municipality out there has realized that they can make money off of rental properties by requiring all kinds of inspections, all kinds of certificates, all kinds of registrations, each one of those with a different fee requiring, all kinds of paperwork. So I just wanted to kind of go through like what the actual, day to day, week to week, month to month would be like if you decide to manage your own property versus having a company like Beal Properties do it, where I have a whole staff of people here who are doing the things I'm going to share with you, hour by hour, day by day, week by week. So, the different things that really come into play with property management can include accounting, maintenance, sales, documentation, because if you get into any kind of eviction proceeding or any kind of Section 8 situation, there's going to be a lot of documentation required. Compliance, again, with those municipalities that are going to need all kinds of, documentation to show that you're doing what you say you're doing. Dealing with utilities. I know how much all of us love having to call our local gas company or electric company or water company, being on hold, remembering your login, customer service, when a tenant has an issue, that's really what that is. Project management, when it gets into scheduling things to meet everyone's time frame that's involved. Logistics, purchasing, and then just overall management. So let me share my screen here and go through some things here with you that we kind of do day in and day out that really hopefully give you an idea of what actually managing a property would be like. And if you're an investor who maybe has one property, but you're hoping to, someday own 10 or 50 or 100 properties. Just think about this sort of on that scale, like multiply what I'm going through for one property by many properties. So a simple dictionary definition of management is the process of planning, organizing, leading, and deploying people, as well as financial, physical, and information resources to efficiently accomplish defined goals. And I just looked up the word management in a dictionary one day and read that, and I was like, wow, that's kind of my job. And that's kind of all of our jobs here. So started off with that. And the other thing I want to kind of lead off with here is, while there are a lot of people who maybe promote or market themselves as property managers, there are actually in the state of Michigan some legal requirements for who can manage properties. And in the next few slides, we're going to go through with all these documents and forms and registrations and certificates that we're going to be filling out. They will ask, like, do you even qualify to be doing this? So yes, in the state of Michigan, property management is considered a real estate activity, and someone who is engaging in the business of property management needs to be a licensed real estate broker, and then they can hire people, who work for them. But those people should also have some very specific types of experience. So here at Beal Properties, we do have a real estate broker's license, and many of our property managers themselves are also licensed real estate agents. I've had a real estate license in the state of Michigan and New York. Also been a certified home inspector. So there's some requirements for people who are actually going to, engage in this profession. And unfortunately, we found people who maybe come to us in a difficult situation where their property hasn't been managed well. And then we sort of find out on the back end that the person who was doing it for them really didn't have any business doing it, in the first place. So, one thing that you want to consider is, do you have the equipment? Do you have the resources, facilities, people, to go out and actually handle, say, a maintenance call? If you have one property that's 2 blocks away from you and you know it inside and out, maybe you used to live there and now you just want to rent it out, that's one thing. But if it's a rental property or an investment property that you just bought, do you really have the resources, to deal with things that might come up, an exploding water tank or a blown out pipe or a flood or a tree falling on the roof? Well, we do. As I said, sales is an important part of this. Just simply posting something on Craigslist or whatever for rent, that's far different from really marketing a property to get that top of market rent, and being able to review applications, run credit reports, criminal background check, spend the time to call, landlord references, employment references, that kind of thing. And again, just, handling that maintenance. Do you really want to be out there at the end of fall, right before it snows, blowing leaves? This is a property that we manage where the city initially told the owner they needed to put this curb in here for this doorway. And then 4 months later, they said, actually, you need to take it out. So, we happen to have a guy and a jackhammer, and we're able to just do that. But for, someone else, it might require a half a day going to Home Depot and renting a jackhammer and getting all the safety equipment. And again, we have a fleet of vehicles and a staff that we can, sort of deploy on the fly or in a very organized manner. Meeting people to do a showing, let's say you have a vacant unit or, a house that you're looking to rent. Do you really want to spend, an entire Saturday meeting with 8 different people back to back to back to back, showing the place? Maybe you do, but we've got the staff who do that as their job, and they're really good at it. Part of this could also be if there's, refinancings or whatever, or if you're in a partnership with someone, actually doing the sale and meeting with the title company. Buying supplies. So think about if, you are managing a rental property that you own, the tenant moves out, and then you want to get it spruced up before the next tenant moves in, and you're going to go and buy, 3 gallons of paint at $55 each. Well, this is what we're buying once a month. So you can imagine the cost difference and just how that can pan out for you in terms of your year-on-year, returns and cash flow for the property. All of our staff here have very broad experience in, multiple areas of the industry. So I've got numerous people in the office here who I could send out to do a quick inspection on a roof or do a quick inspection on a foundation, that kind of thing, because they have the background in it. If you really don't know what you're doing and you're trying to get a quote in meeting with someone and you haven't seen the situation before, haven't seen like 100 different quotes for that specific thing, you just might not, know how to really discuss it, negotiate it, get a good price, that kind of thing. Here's Stuart Beal himself. He's meeting with the Ypsilanti Water Authority to discuss a whole situation at a property that we own. And again, he's done this so many times. He knows what to look for on these papers here and what questions to ask these people and what next steps to take to get the project moved along. Here's a good example of, if you own a rental property and the tenant moves out and then you want to market it, you want to get it fixed up a little bit. Do you really know what exactly needs to be done to get it moved up to the next level of the, top market rent without spending too much? Because a lot of people, when they do this on their own, it takes them a lot longer to get quotes because they don't necessarily have the relationships. They're just some person calling a number, whereas we're calling people we've done thousands of jobs with. And B, maybe they go overboard. Maybe they redo stuff that they shouldn't redo, or maybe they miss things that they should. So here's a before picture on a property that we own. And we were able to go in there and do a quick scope of work and decide, here's what we need to do to move this up to the next level of rent. And here's what it looked like a couple weeks later. So we put in a new stove. We didn't put in new cabinets. We painted them, put some new handles on, replaced the light fixture there, replaced the floor, as you can see. And now for the next X number of years, this is going to rent at a much higher rate, than what it was running at before. And we spent the minimum on it that we know we need to, because we've done this literally hundreds of times. So the last few things I want to show you here are some of the compliance issues that you literally have to deal with in managing a property. So here's a basic certificate of compliance with the city of Detroit, for example. And I'm just going to scroll through this. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but this is just to literally register a property with the city of Detroit so it can legally be rented. Now there's multiple layers underneath this, but is this really how you want to spend your Saturday? Going through all of this. This is another example of a rental registration process for the city of Detroit. It's just the instructions are 13 pages long, and then you have to dig through all these forms. Look at this. Here's a flow chart on how to apply. Now, we've got people who do this every day. They can get in and out of this, and they know who to contact if there's a problem, etc. In Ypsilanti, just getting a rental inspection. Here's a 31-page document of instructions on how to fill out the form to get a rental inspection. So again, there's a difference between just trying to do this for the first time and understand it and do it correctly and not get fined and not miss out versus, having people who this is their job. Hey, there's another thing that's required, HVAC certification, every either 1 year or 2 years. These things have to be done. Fortunately, this is just one document, but then you still have to schedule it and go out there and meet the person and be able to, discuss it intelligently with them. With utilities, you deal with a situation where you've got tenants there and then the tenant moves out, and then you've got a few days to get the unit turned over before you move a new tenant in. And during that few day period, you need the power to stay on. So you would often fill out like something like a duplicate billing request so that account can flow between the tenant and the owner without things getting shut off. Because if you have to get things turned back on, that can be a couple-day delay, and that costs you money. So those are just some of the examples of what property management actually is, and what the staff here at Beal Properties does every day, and why it's not something, except in very limited situations. Like I said, you lived in the house for 20 years and now you moved down the street, and your brother-in-law is a contractor where you can handle everything. But in most situations, if you're buying an income property, you probably will benefit from having a professional property management company who qualifies for that title to undertake your business for you. And we are one of those companies, and we would like to do that for you. So if you have any questions, you can email me at jeff.muir@gobeal.com. And you can also let us know if there's any, specific questions that you'd like answered in another video like this. And you can also go to gobeal.com and fill out a very quick little form to start the process of talking to me about us managing your property for you. So thanks again for joining us here, and we hope to talk to you soon.